Welcome back! This is part 2 of how I research international schools using my process. If you haven't seen part 1, go here first. So far, I've added details about this one school by researching on the school's website and the recruitment agency's listing. All of these details go onto my teaching opportunities spreadsheet. For this one school, the location and school research sections are nearly full, and my values section has some details as well. In the open roles section, I should at least have the URL of their employment page and the name of the agency which listed this school. Now, I want to know what other people are saying about the school. I'm specifically looking for content that the school did not create. First, I open LinkedIn and look at the profiles of current employees and leaders, noticing their qualifications, how many years they've been there, and anything they've written about their experience. After that, I go to Reddit and search the school's name. Sometimes there are comments about the salary or the cost of living at the school, and of course, there are probably some biased personal stories. Next, I go to Google Maps, where I look through the reviews to see if there are any red flags. I also take a moment to look at the physical location of the school's campus. I avoid relying too heavily on International Schools Review, as it is paid and usually more biased. Finally, I sometimes search the school's name in Facebook groups to see if there are recent comments. As I do this stage of research, I'm scanning, looking for big ideas and patterns, not copying and pasting details. Most of my notes go into my values section or my other random notes section. I might notice something that comes up several times, such as many employees stay between 2 to 4 years, or the leadership seems to have changed a lot in the last decade, or sometimes the reviews will consistently mention the difficulty of saving money at that particular school. I try to read everything with a detective's level of skepticism. I've read some very harsh reviews about schools that I've loved working at, and also seen comparisons that rank schools that I think are excellent much lower than I think they deserve. Everyone's experience is a little bit different. The goal at this stage is to see if the people are pointing out something that is seriously off-putting, and if so, stop researching this school, go back to the agency list and pick another one. If the school passed my online spaces test, I'm now looking at social media platforms. I'm looking at accounts run by the school and by members of the school leadership team. First on Instagram, then X, then Facebook, and finally on YouTube. You can add TikTok in there if you like. I'm scanning for patterns and looking for big common ideas, not reading or watching everything. And these questions really guide my thinking. Do they highlight something repeatedly? How do they speak about their community? How do they speak about educators? Are educators featured often? Are they mostly promoting their school to prospective families or to prospective employees? Do they repost, share, or comment on their educators' posts? Speaking of, back when it was Twitter, I was in my first grade classroom leading a writing lesson when the new head of school came in for a visit. I was also new that year, so we kind of knew each other from the onboarding weeks. After welcoming him, I just went back to working with my students. He later posted a photo to his Twitter highlighting the energy and learning that was happening in my classroom. A post like this from the director shows prospective families and employees what it's like to work at our school. I loved being highlighted in this post, and if I recall correctly, he also emailed me with a kind note of appreciation for the visit. Here's a tip for you. During this social media research stage, pay attention to the types of opportunities students have. Here's a quote from one of my teacher friends. One thing I always look for is whether the students participate in activities beyond the classroom, like MUN, Model United Nations, Week Without Walls, and community service projects. If a school invests energy in these, it's usually a good sign that they encourage teachers to extend the learning to real life, which is how I prefer to teach. All right, we've arrived at the evaluation stage. So far today, I have researched one international school, and most of the details are fresh in my mind. I take a moment to read through my spreadsheet, especially looking at the evidence that the school matches my values and anything that I put in the other random notes category that might have concerned me. Then I give the school a ranking of 1 to 5 stars, just using my research and intuition. Done! With 1. Back to the agency's list to find another school. I keep researching and using this simple rating system until I have a list of about 10 schools. If you've got time, go for 20. The research process is time-consuming, So if you are new to researching international schools, my recommendation is to discover 3 new schools per day. The great thing is, my teaching opportunities spreadsheet can just be refreshed every time that I choose to go abroad. So once you have yours, you'll never have to start researching from scratch again. When I have my research and evaluation for 10 to 20 schools, I'm ready to move on to deciding which ones to contact. So I look through my list and ask myself a few questions to narrow it down to 2 that I'm going to start with. Which 2 schools sparked joy when I researched them? Which 2 schools could I imagine myself working at next year? And if I've been working on this research for a while, which 2 schools have I kept thinking of? Now, pro tip. If this is your first time applying to international schools, I do not recommend sending your first application to your dream school. As with most things, practicing and refining your skills is to your benefit. Therefore, I'd actually recommend applying to some schools that you are less interested in or ones that you don't feel like you're a super strong candidate for, at least to start. Or you can apply to join my coaching program where I'll guide you through updating your CV, writing a great cover letter, and answering those application questions with confidence so that you show up for your dream school as a strong, attractive candidate from day one. So highlight, star, and scribble down the names of the schools that you are going to start applying for tomorrow, because right now you deserve a break and snaps for all your hard work because you have officially begun your journey to becoming an international educator. Congratulations! This is the beginning of the recruitment process. Of course, there's still working on the cover letters, preparing for the interviews, going to the job fairs, and deciding which offer you're going to take. Because obviously, you're going to have multiple offers. Back in 2020, when I was sitting on my couch in India, beginning my research to hopefully find a job in Brazil or even South America, I knew that this process was going to be both exhausting and worth it. I was teaching 6-year-olds online at the same time, so I needed to maximize my efforts and not stress myself out. Therefore, I focused on a small select group of schools that I researched in depth, and I felt confident matched my values. My research and recruitment efforts led me to match with an international school here in Brazil, and I moved in 2021 after completing my contract in India. No employment decision is perfect, but I knew which shared values I wanted to see in my future employer, and I put in the time and effort to research. I believe that you are capable of matching with your ideal international school too. When you're ready to prepare to teach internationally next year, I'd love to coach you through the recruitment journey. You can request a spot in an upcoming coaching program at educatorsatthecafe.com. Subscribe to be notified when I upload videos about contacting schools and more. Thanks for joining me today. Ciao for now.